Hello YouTube, this is Mahadev the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the channel. So I don't know if you've been watching what's been going on around the world, but one of the things that you are being told is that the global warming apocalypse is upon us. And indeed, there are unprecedented wildfires and storms. We're now, as it turns out, I was right by not going back to Florida because, I survived 2 hurricanes last year, back to back, within a month, one right after the other, coming from different directions, which was unheard of. People telling me they've never seen this before. And then this year, right now, as it turns out, there's a hurricane headed once again towards Florida, and it's going to go over where I would have been living. And we just had, as you know, we just had a hurricane hit California, which, it became a tropical storm. But bear in mind, tropical storm winds just below level 1 hurricanes are enough to, destroy things. It's no fun at all. These are major things going on. There are, I don't know how many wildfires. We've got wildfires in Louisiana. We got wildfires, of course, in the West. We've got wildfires in Canada, people being evacuated from Canada. There are wildfires in Turkey. There are wildfires in Greece. And, of course, we had the Maui fires. And so you're being told that global warming is literally torching the whole planet. We are seeing people being dispossessed from their homes at a rate unprecedented. And, again, as I said before, our President Biden has such a big heart, that he is willing to give $24 billion just recently, $24 billion to, no, not Maui, to the Ukrainian people because of, the war that they're suffering. And, thankfully, he also gave $700 to each family that was displaced in the Maui wildfires. And, even with all of that, big-hearted, kind giving of aid and money to the Maui people, there's still a lot of homeless people now, people dispossessed and homeless. People in Maui, as I understand, are being evicted from their rentals that didn't burn down. They're being evicted and thrown on the street. All kinds of problems with insurance, and of course, money-grubbing land developers want to come in and snap all that up. And this is just the beginning. What you're being told is that people are becoming dispossessed, they're becoming poor, your businesses are going to get shut down, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your home. And so we're going to end up with this society where it's just this dystopian, apocalyptic society. And the cause is, what you're being told, is global warming. But, because there's so much disinformation out there, or misinformation, I don't know which word to use, because there's so much misinformation about, all this stuff, people aren't believing the narrative for some crazy reason. Why they don't believe that the people who are getting paid to take care of you and protect you, why they wouldn't just believe that these people want to help you. I mean, I know I have my whole life. I've believed, certainly there's a lot of corruption in government, but I believed up until just a couple of years ago, I really believed that, government is really there to help you, and as long as you pull your weight, you'll be okay. And I don't know, it's getting harder and harder to believe that when you see this kind of stuff going on. And, so much, it's hard to know what the truth is because there's so much misinformation out there. It's hard to know what is true and what isn't. Anyway, I left a video link. Again, guys, please pay attention because I do leave video links. I left a video link in the chat, and I believe that I left it in the description. I'm going to check right now. And this is a YouTube video. No, I did not. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna put a link in the video description of some very interesting. It's a YouTube video, so you know it's not misinformation. Very interesting video about what's happening with the Maui fires, and what really caused it. Some people don't seem to know some people don't seem to know the obvious. But anyway, we don't get into those subjects here because this is our YouTube channel. So we want to be responsible and make sure that we only give out the verifiable World Health Organization truth to you. So that's what I'm here to do. So what I'm here to talk to you about, I'm not going to go into all of the stuff about the Maui fires. I'm uploading a video where I get into that on Rumble. So if you want to, after watching this, you want to go to Rumble and look for it, it might be uploaded. But what is happening is that people are waking up. So the video link that I gave you, the YouTube video link that I gave you, you can see that guy is waking up to a different understanding of reality. He's not. I believe that up until the Maui fires, this guy was your typical, just accepting the narrative kind of guy. At least he presents himself that way, and he seems to be having a really hard time accepting it. And people are going to wake up. People are waking up. There is no way to avoid coming to the realization that the world you thought you lived in doesn't exist. I think it's going to be just, I think it's going to, especially after this Maui thing, I think there's going to be such a huge wave of awakened awareness to understanding the narrative you've been given isn't really accurate. And if this is because we are in fact on our way to achieving ascension, whatever that means, achieving the solar flash, whatever that means, then this unfortunately is a necessary step. So while I don't take any pleasure in the tremendous heartache that is going on all around the world, it does seem to me that this is kind of one of the only ways to wake people up to the reality of this 3D existence that we have. Now, I'm lucky because a year ago, a little over a year ago, June 2022, I started doing human-initiated contact with higher dimensional beings, which is called CE5, letter C, letter E, number 5. You can go Google CE5 protocols. Again, guys, people ask me questions. They'll go, what is CE5? And it's like, I don't understand why. It's very simple to me. If I see something I don't understand, the first thing I do is I go Google it. So it's so easy to find this stuff out. So Google CE5 protocols and do that. I recommend that you do that. Very good chance that your understanding of reality will completely, totally shift. You can also do the free interdimensional meditation that I have on this channel. Again, don't ask me for links. All you have to do is go to Thunder Wizard DOTCOM YouTube channel page and click on the playlist, and on the playlist you will find interdimensional meditation, absolutely free. I guide you through numerous ones, and as has been the case with many people, I don't guarantee any experience, and everybody's different, but a lot of people are having this completely mind-bending experience of understanding that our universe is a multi-dimensional multiverse. It's not a universe. It's not a one. Our experience. Our experience of 3D is that we live in this. If we were to go based on our senses, we would believe that the earth is the only place in existence that has life, plant life and animal life and conscious life. And we would believe that the likelihood of there being any kind of life would be close to impossible. You would believe that the world, you look with your senses, you look around, you can't see any consciousness. You can't feel or see a God. So we have religions that give us some symbolic reference point that we can then choose to believe in some conscious spiritual existence outside of us. But left to ourselves, we just will decide we're all alone in this world. So it's a very understandable feeling if you're one of those people that believe that the universe is a cold, empty place. It's very understandable people, become atheists or agnostics, because how can you believe in it, especially when you've got these ridiculous religions telling you that, there's this codependent guy who's going to allow the psychopathic murderer creator of the world to torture him to death so that you'll be saved simply because you were born. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you, but just the fact that you were born means you're sinful and imperfect. And after a while, people go, that just doesn't make sense. That if there's a God, that's not him. And then they look around, they can't see another one, so they go, well, there isn't one. And then you believe that, the world is empty. Or if you're an average person and you see things like what's happening on Maui, and if you come to the conclusion that there's some corruption going on and that, the people that ended up being redirected back into the fire, if you mistakenly come to the conclusion that that was done on purpose, because we know it wasn't. But, it's understandable that people come to that misinformed conclusion. If you come to that conclusion, then you believe that there are beings out there that want to hurt you. That, not only is there not a loving God, but there are these evil, false beings of light who are trying to trap you and suck the life force out of you. Well, that is understandable because that's our experience. Human beings are selfish and corrupt and evil, and this is a tough place to live. It's really, really tough to live in this world and still hang on to any semblance of, choosing to love other people. It's almost impossible to trust the universe, and that's because of our three-dimensional existence. And once you've gone outside of the third dimension, people ask me these hypothetical questions. And that's what they are. They're hypothetical questions. And I won't lie to you, hypothetical questions bug the crap out of me. Because hypothetical questions come out of laziness and fear. Hypothetical questions, people ask me, well, after they've heard me give long-winded explanations about how the universe loves you unconditionally, and that the powers that be, higher dimensional beings, the true God, if you want to call it, the quantum field, that these consciousnesses are only focused on your happiness and your evolution, but you have to choose to trust and act on that trust, which means that you act with love towards yourself first and then love towards others. And if you're able to do that, the universe provides you everything that you need, and you don't know how it happens. So you're acting outside of your 3D animal instincts, which tell you, you have to be afraid of everything. You either have to eat it, fuck it, kill it, run away from it in order to survive. And you understand that the universe isn't like that. Well, the only way you can know that is if you have a personal experience. Oh, look at that. The video is no longer available. Oh, that's too bad. I'm not surprised in the slightest. However, thankfully, I took the video off of there, and it should be up on my Rumble channel, so you can go and yeah, it is. Let me go ahead and just make sure that it's uploaded. So if you need to, you can go to my Rumble channel, and you know, that guy who uploaded that video, you can see some of that video that's left. Anyway, I'm sorry to hear that. He was a very well-intentioned guy, but you know, I do understand, because we've got to make sure that YouTube doesn't engage in any misinformation, and people could easily misinterpret what he said as, you know, misinformation. So I got to say, YouTube is doing the right thing. Really got our best interests at heart. So thank you, YouTube, for, you know, censoring the misinformation for us. I really appreciate that. I know you do as well. So there it is. It's up on my Rumble channel, and it's going to process, but it should be ready pretty quick. All right. Where were we at here? Okay, so I got distracted. So the only way that you can know that the universe is not predatory is to come out of the third dimension. The third dimension and below is where things are predatory. And I was saying, I get really annoyed at hypothetical questions. And people will ask me hypothetical questions like, well, couldn't both narratives be true, that there are loving beings in higher dimensions and also evil predatory beings? And again, it's a hypothetical question. This is somebody who's not willing to prove it to themselves and wants to stay in their fear. Let me be clear. The third dimension, what keeps you in the third dimension is your fear. And fear is addictive. Operating from fear releases all kinds of chemicals in the brain. This is why people stay in abusive relationships, because the, you know, what I call the trauma bond cycle, you know, it actually is a self, you know, self-propelled hamster wheel, and it keeps you in it. And it's extremely difficult. You would think that if I told somebody, you would think if I said to people, I have good news. You no longer have to be afraid of false beings of light. There is no such thing. You can connect directly with higher dimensional energies, and you can experience the unconditional infinite love of the universe. You would think that if people really wanted to escape these false beings of light that they seem to be so intent on proving to us exist, you would think if somebody came along and said, no, I can prove it to you. I can prove to you that higher dimensions are filled with love. You would think their first response would be, oh my, thank God. Thank God there's a way out. Please show me, I want to experience this. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people get angry. They get furious at me when I tell them that you chose to be here and that you create your reality and you can create a different reality. But you know, the one thing you have to do is you have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to step out. Because if you want to prove to yourself that the universe is a predatory, evil place, well, that's very easy to prove yourself that. All you have to do is continue to act from fear, have your life continue to give you things that aren't pleasant, and then you'll have a justification. This is how our mind works. Our mind looks to justify. So I'm here to tell you that the understandings that I have about the universe didn't come easy to me. I had to be willing to go far outside of my comfort zone in order to get to where I'm at. And so this is why I choose to continue to believe the solar flash, not just because I read it somewhere, but because this was told to me by higher dimensional beings. I have experienced, and I continue to experience, evolutionary shifts whenever we have these solar storms hit the Earth. I can tap into that much more easily. So I have some evidence that backs up this idea that there's going to be a solar flash event that shifts everybody up to the next level. but it's not something that I believed because it was something I read. I never do that. I never believe anything I read until I can prove it and physically, personally experience it. I never believe anything unless I can physically experience it. You know, even long before this, if you go back to my most important, wait, let me see something about the link just came up. Okay, so the link in the description doesn't work, but the link in the live chat works. So I'll have to go back later and fix that. I completely forgot what I was saying. The point I'm trying to make is you need to find this out for yourself. Don't be lazy. Look, you know, if you believe, let me just lay this out for you. If you believe that false beings of light are trying to trap you and destroy you, and that you can't trust, not only can you not trust humans, not only can you not trust lower dimensional evil beings like demons and ghosts, not only can you not trust humans and two-dimensional beings, but you can't even trust higher dimensional beings. If that's true, then there is literally no hope for you. You might as well completely give up hope. Because I can tell you from experience that once you get to a higher dimension, higher dimensional beings have so much more ability to control every aspect of not only your life, but your perception. That's just a scientific fact. Higher dimension doesn't mean they have more, you know, mojo. It means they're on a completely different dimension. If you imagine a two-dimensional being, imagine, you know, a being that lived on this piece of paper. I can completely, totally get on all sides of this paper. I can do all kinds of things to make things happen that would be absolutely unthinkably impossible for them. There's nothing that a two-dimensional being could do that I wouldn't be able to completely outsmart them. Get ahead, go, you know, from their perspective, I'm going ahead in time, backwards in time. They would have zero ability to defend themselves against my power. So if you believe that there are higher dimensional beings out there that have the ability, have the desire to harm you, there's no hope for you. None. So you can't simultaneously be wanting to exit the matrix and still believe that a higher dimensional being, that they exist out there, they want to harm you. You're screwed. Forget it. It's over. So if you want to believe in escaping the matrix, your only hope is that there aren't any evil beings in higher dimensions. Now, I've said this before. People keep asking me, how do you know? How do you know? Prove it to me. How do you know? Well, one of the properties of the third dimension is fear. Fear is really sort of the glue that holds the third dimensional experience and the third dimensional perception. This is why all governments operate from fear. That's why laws are created. You know, what is it that you know, when you try and keep kids from doing something, what do? You tell them that, you know, Baba Yaga is going to get you, or, you know, some evil being is going to get you. The devil is going to get you. You know, because you can't really help people do things because it's good for them. You have to tell them, no, that it's going to kill you if you do it. Don't smoke, you'll die of cancer. You know, I mean, it doesn't stop people, unfortunately. But fear is the thing that holds us together, and it holds together a perception that is unique to the third dimension. And when you understand that anything associated with fear, which includes hatred, violence, the desire to take advantage of people, the desire to feed off of other people's energy, anything like that can't exist in higher dimensions. The frequency of higher, because each time you go up to another dimension, the frequency goes up. So the frequency of fear is a very specific frequency. You can't have that in the fifth dimension. It won't work. If you're in the fifth dimension and you really want to focus on fear, which I don't know if it's possible, but if you do, guaranteed you will shift just like the biblical description of falling angels. You will fall right out. You will disappear. And since your existence in the fifth dimension depends upon you vibrating on the level of unconditional love, for example, you would never do anything to harm yourself. This is what's so crazy about the third dimension, because in order to drop your fear, your third dimensional self has to die. And our instinct is not to die. So the most difficult part about ascension is that you have to change your frequency, and your entire human being is programmed to not destroy itself. And this is why people are so addicted to fear. This is why when something traumatic happens to you as a child or an infant, which is the cause of all, by the way, any of you who strongly believe and get angry with me if I tell you there's no such thing as false beings of light. If you get angry with me, I already know you've been abused. I don't know anything else about you, but I know you've been abused. Because when you've been abused at a young age, your first instinct is to protect yourself. And the first thing that comes up is to not believe or trust that anybody can love you. So in order to survive, you keep telling yourself, nobody will love me, I can't trust anybody. And the moment you do start to fall in love, what happens? You have tremendous fear, and then there's all kinds of psychological things where you talk about, attachment disorders. It's all fear. Attachment disorder just means I'm afraid if I allow myself to have this loving feeling and trust you that you're going to hurt me. Narcissists, borderlines, serial killers, corrupt politicians, business moguls, they are all afraid of being loved, every single one of them. And if you have developed a belief, you're spiritual, and you have developed a belief that non-third dimensional, higher dimensional beings want to feast on your entrails, I know for a fact you've been abused. I know for a fact. And because your survival depends on your fear, your belief that people will harm you, because if you stop for one moment, if you stop believing that people will hurt you, you know that somebody's going to come in and destroy you. That's your experience. So when I come along and I say, higher dimensional beings are incapable of intending any harm towards you, your first response is to get angry at me, because you think I'm trying to talk you out of your only defense, which is to fear being loved. So if you want to ascend, I'm sorry, that's the only way out. And unfortunately, I'm here to tell you the truth. And if I told you something else, I'd be a much more popular YouTuber. I'd have millions of subscribers. It's real easy. All you got to do is just create a video based on you can't trust anything and you can't escape the matrix. That's all I have to do. I make a YouTube channel about being a super empath or being a heyoka or some other fear-based, paranoia about wanting, spending your whole life talking about being consumed by narcissists. But I'm here to tell you the good news is that all of this craziness that's going on in the world is in fact blowing up. The reasons for that are up for debate. You can choose, even if you want to believe it's global warming, go right ahead. If you want to believe global warming has the ability right now to do what is happening in the world, if you want to believe that, I won't stop you. But even if that's true, it's only an indication that this world is coming down. This world is on its way out. And so this has to happen for people to wake up and be willing to face their fears. Because on that video link that I gave you, that guy, I don't know him, but he strikes me as a very normal, following the narrative kind of guy who is looking at something that won't fit in the narrative. And he has to come to some conclusions about what the hell's going on in the world. And he's just the beginning. That has to happen. It's going to be a very painful experience for him if he comes to the realization that perhaps his religion isn't telling him the truth, perhaps the governmental system, the bank system, our social system is based on abuse and based on lies. If he comes to that conclusion, he's going to feel like he's got no place to go, nowhere, nothing he can depend on. He kind of strikes me as somebody actually that will, focus on love. He seems like a very kind guy. So, but to awaken from this is going to be painful. I've been sharing with you the last video. I'm like, I'm having doubts about my ability to do this. And I won't lie to you. I'm talking about myself here. When I see the level of hatred that humans have for other innocent humans, it's incredibly painful to me. It's very saddening to me. It doesn't make me angry. None of this has made me angry. I'm well past the anger stage. I was angry in 2020, whenever it was, 2021, when I woke up to what was going on during the pandemic. I was angry then. I'm past the anger stage now. I just still, when it's shown to me how horrible humans can be, it saddens me. And yet, with this possibility, not knowing what the solar flash is it going to be everybody gets happy and everybody moves up to the next level? Is it going to be that those people who are ready to vibrate at a certain frequency will shift onto, into another dimension? Will people literally start flying off the planet like it's, the rapture? When we start getting into that, that's an uncomfortable, frightening thought to me. I won't lie to you. I mean, I'm comfortable being here on terra firma. I mean, gravity is my friend. I don't know. What is this? Another completely different planet? What's that going to be like? So I won't lie to you. That's not an easy concept for me. And walking around the past couple days, sort of feeling like somebody who's aware they're about to die. And I have no death wish, but that's the feeling, and it's dying to my attachment. And I don't have a very strong attachment to this earth, but it's strong enough that I'm afraid to let go of it. And it's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to experience it. It's another thing if, let's say you're sitting at home and all of a sudden some higher dimensional extraterrestrial ship lands on your front yard, and the energy coming off of that ship is so powerful you can barely hold on to yourself, and they're like, come on with us, it's time to go. Yeah, your time here is done. Now you get to go back home to planet Remulon or whatever it is. Let's go. Is that going to be an easy thing for you to do? If it is, my hair's off to you. But I am prepared to do that. Whatever this is, I'm prepared to do it. Now, the good news is the messages that I've got is that when the time comes, I'll know exactly what to do. And apparently some memories and understandings that are now sort of hidden in my unconscious will come to my awareness, and I'll know what's happening, and I'll know, even though I may skip off this planet. So I'm just letting you know, if the elites are right and the solar flash is going to hit on the 23rd, if you don't see any videos from me after that, you know where I went. My assumption is that you'll have come with me, but this is the world that we live in. Anyway, I'm still left with what I'm going to do is that I'm going to keep doing the practices that will give me the ability to change my frequency to a higher level. And these I've given to you for free. All you have to do is go onto the YouTube channel page and go to the playlists, and you'll see the meditations, you'll see the guided meditations, you'll see the energy work, the Qigong. You can play the Hul breath or the Huar breath. All of that stuff is there. If you're dead serious, you don't know where to start, and you're dead serious about having the most powerful energy practices that I've found, you go here to thunderwizard.com and subscribe. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. It's not a lifetime thing. And the other thing too is, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have the money, I'm going to wait. Well, if we're only going to be here for another month, seriously, what is $55 out of the last month of your life? I mean, really, when we're talking about literally the most important thing you can do is to shift your frequency up, and I'm giving you the tools, and you have the thought that goes through your mind is, I can't afford it. I mean, there's a disconnect here. Maybe you don't believe any of this. Maybe you think that the world's going to be just fine. Maybe you think that the banks are going to still hold up, and that government's, going to, your pension's going to, maybe you trust what's going on. I don't. But if you want it, whether it's free or otherwise, it's available for you. And I recommend, if you really want to know what happened to me, if you want to know how I lost my mind and I experienced higher dimensional awarenesses, and I wrote about it in depth, you can go and get my books at michaelwilliamdenny.com. Interdimensional Revolution is one. I prove to you that the alien abduction phenomenon is actually humans. I prove it in there. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth. I'll explain to you what happens when you interact with higher dimensional beings, the things that they showed me, at least up until that point. And again, the most important book you can get of mine, it's actually just a little booklet. It's called The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. And my belief is that in the fifth dimension, people will be intuitively living what I teach in that book. So if you don't know, how am I going to shift? Live what's in that book. Memorize it, live it, and do it. And it is my belief that that will guarantee your ascension. In the meantime, if you're having a lot of trouble, then it's important that you find a mentor. Find a mentor, a teacher, a guru. And I have, I'm uploading videos on this channel called the 12 Steps to 5D. And that is the most powerful way if you have blocks, especially if you're filled with fear, if you're filled with self-hatred, if you're filled with trauma, if you've been traumatized, those 12-step videos, if you simply follow my instructions on that, and you do it to the best of your knowledge consistently, I guarantee you some healing and some awareness. And the thing about being able to shift is that you're going to have to take different actions. And the catch-22 is that, unfortunately, we don't have the power within our third dimensional mind to take different actions, even if somebody shows us, even if we become consciously aware that what we're doing isn't working and we need to do something different. That won't give us the power to change. Proof is all the people who love to talk about the fear, love to talk about there are evil beings of light wanting to destroy you, and they won't take the actions to find out, and they ask me these lazy hypothetical questions like, well, could it be possibly true that both of these things exist? And my first response is, why don't you find out for yourself? Why do you want to live in a hypothetical world? I don't want to live in a hypothetical world. I want to live in a real one. And a real world is experienced through actions. And if I'm going to find out if there are false beings of light, I'm going to find out, because I'm not going to be any worse off. You're telling me that they already exist. You're telling me they've already trapped me here. You tell me that they're already feeding off of me. So by doing something to just look at the face of those beings, I'm not going to be any worse off than I am now. So I might as well find out. And it turns out they don't exist. They only exist within us and in the third dimension, and above that, those beings don't exist. And when you get out of the third dimension and you're in the fifth dimension, there's this ladder of consciousness that everybody has access to. You can literally talk to God, communicate directly with God. You can communicate with directly to higher guides. You can talk directly to deities. They'll talk back to you. You can even shift up and down. You can meditate. You can leave your body. This is the kind of stuff that happens in the fifth dimension, and it's just how everybody lives. Whether we're going to get to the actual fifth dimension or just a higher version of the third dimension, I don't know, and I don't care at this point. Anyway, I'm rambling on and on. You get the point. Do the work. If you do the work to shift your vibration up, you can experience this. And the worst case scenario is, if I turn out to be wrong about all this and there isn't a solar flash, the fact that you've done the work and you've done proven energy methods, you'll benefit. There's no downside to any of this. So I recommend that you do it, and you know where to go. There are the links, etc., etc. Now, I don't take questions anymore from people unless you are one of my apprentices, or if you are subscribed to the Patreon Warrior 90-Day Challenge. Not subscribe to the channel, but subscribe to the 90-Day Lightning Qigong. If I recognize you and I know you're subscribed to that, I will answer a question. Other than that, I won't answer your question. Nothing personal. Just spend more time on the channel, watching the videos, reading the books, then you'll have something intelligent to ask. Afro Man, you still haven't got it. I've never said at any point in time that I want honest information. I've never said that. And I don't even know that you're subscribed to there. So, you know, all the years you've been on my channel, you still have a hard time following direction. It's kind of tough to work with somebody that can't follow direction. I mean, you seem like a nice guy, but what else? All right, what else? Nothing else? Okay, I don't see anything here that I wish to respond to, so I wish you guys all the best. I love you all. I am spending every single spare second of my moments of my day thinking about how I can get information to help you evolve and give you practical tools to make your life better. And you know, again, Afro Man, if I've said anything that hurts your feelings, don't take it personally. That's just who I am. I really do want to make sure that everything I do is the most helpful thing I can do, even if it's something you don't necessarily want to see or hear at the time. All right, that's it, guys. My video on Rumble should be up if you want to go watch it, and I will see if I can fix that link in the description. That's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time.